Yo, what is up, everybody? How's it going? First things first, as always, sound check. Make sure I sound all right. Volume not too low, too high. How's everybody doing? You guys excited for this chapter? It was a doozy, man. It was a good one. It was a good one. I saw that apparently it was supposed to be like 36 pages, but it ended up not being that long. So I don't know what happened with those extra like 10 pages that Rada didn't use, but whatever. You know what I mean? How's everybody doing though? Jeremy, what's up? Do with the Jeremy with the countdown. What's up, man? Toby, what's up? Pokey, Sparrow, Chemi Torres, Nicholas. What's up, guys? How's it going? We're rolling deep today. All right. Well, if you guys remember, because I think it's been 2 weeks, right? We didn't have like another break. Yeah. So we left off with the crazy, crazy chapter where like Empty Void formed out of like these all the Heavenly Ninja Party members' intestines, pretty much. Super gnarly scene. Like I didn't, I was not expecting that. I wouldn't say like One Punch Man's like a kids manga, but like it's definitely like more on the PG-13 side, especially like the manga versus the webcomic. And that was crazy. That was unexpected, but we're getting a follow up to all that in this chapter. Trust me, which is super exciting. It's midnight in the UK. Oh man. Well, you know what? We'll get to this chapter, talk about it a bit, and hopefully send you off to bed. um, what's up, John Center? How's it going? HFS DK5. How's everyone? I'm doing great. It's One Punch Man Wednesday, so you know it's always a good day, no matter what's going on. And so, as we can see, the chapter is led off by this sweet cover page of Saitama. I mean, it beats that super long like 1 year chunk period where all we were getting was like Tazumaki and Fubuki stuff, even though like they weren't even involved in the chapter most of the times. Um, which is people like those too, but me, I like a good Saitama drawing from Murata, and this is a simple one yet a good one. What do you guys think though? Also, as always, shout out to Vibham and gang for getting this translated so quickly. Like they're goated, man. Those guys are goated for sure. They make all this possible. They make us, they let us enjoy the manga much sooner than we normally would be able to. What about the? Wasn't this live supposed to be at 5:30 on my trip? And yeah, Herb. It was supposed to be at 4:30 my time. But like the English translations for the chapter came out sooner than I thought they would. So I wanted to read through those, get my thoughts, and like record the video that I'm dropping later for it. Um, Before I started streaming, so it took a little bit. So sorry about that, but One Punch Man is my favorite anime. Second, One Piece. I haven't. I've gotten like maybe 200 chapters into One Piece. It's decent. I wouldn't say it's something that I would like read the entirety of though. To be honest. Yep. He's I subscribe to your channel because of the One Punch Man content. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, I mean I try to bring it to you guys whenever possible. It's one of my favorite manga, and I love to talk about it, and I'm glad that you guys love to listen about it or whatever. But that's a good segue into what we're talking about today, which is the chapter. We're gonna run through the chapter. I'm pretty much gonna narrate it to you guys really quick. I'm not gonna do like word for word, so I don't get in trouble with like copyright stuff. But then we're just gonna discuss it, give our thoughts, and kind of see where we're going from there. You know what I mean? Because it does leave off on a pretty sweet cliffhanger, and I'm really curious to see what's gonna happen in the next one. So with that being said, let's get into it. So like I said, last chapter we left off with Empty Void face to face with Flashy Flash and Sonic, and this here they're just kind of having some dialogue talking about that man, and leading off with Sonic saying the one we saw in the basement, he's definitely a beast. But Flashy Flash is not phased at all because he says, "What nonsense! Slurring the blood and guts of your village's students as an entrance. that totally fits you, Empty Void. So he's like pretty much saying like whatever, dude, like all that Flash for nothing. You know what I mean? He's saying like he's not impressed, pretty much. But and here we actually on the next page we hear Empty Void actually talk for the first time because like up until now it's just been images of him and like just still shots of like flashbacks of him and stuff. So now this is him. This is him talking right here. And I guess he just has like a regular human voice, but I don't know what's up with the laugh though because he's like foo shoo 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 shoo. So I don't know how that's supposed to actually sound. um, but whatever. Anyways, he says, "So you know my name, Flash. I can see you got in touch with Blast. How's that bastard doing?" I was just about to eat up his entrails too, and then he burps, which that's pretty metal, man. You gotta admit. But the dude just slurped up, well, apparently slurped up. We'll see. We'll get back to that in a second. But he just ate up like 10 dudes, and he's like, ah, man, add some room for Blast too. But again, Flashy Flash doesn't care. He isn't intimidated. He just goes right for him. But I mean, Empty Void, all he does is does a little loop de loop and avoids the flurry of attacks from Flashy. So this is when we get some interesting information here. Like this is when we start getting into Empty Void's powers and stuff. Because Flashy Flash. So well, first we see these two panels side by side of the Heavenly Ninja Party, all like skeletons pretty much, and with all their entrails out. And then next to that, it's just them beaten up like Flashy Flash left them. So Sonic is super confused, and of course we are, as you're reading it. And Flashy Flash elaborates and says, "Don't be so shocked, Sonic. The guy is a Genjutsu user. If he could really do what we just saw, there'd be no reason for him to not instantly kill us the same way." So, that pretty much explains it. It never happened, which is kind of a bummer, honestly. I was like super hyped on like Empty Void being this like brutal, vicious ass villain that we've never seen before or something. And that was a crazy entrance for him if he was gonna be like that. But like just to know that it was an illusion. I mean, it gives a good explanation of like the type of powers he has. And honestly, once we get a little deeper into what he can do, it's pretty crazy. But I would have rather it stayed like that. He straight up killed them. You know what I mean? But whatever. It's not a huge deal. So like I guess the guys are alive and they're probably gonna come back into play. They're probably gonna turn face and whatever. But yeah, so they're fine. But anyway, so well, first before I continue, what do you guys think so far? Those of you that have read the chapter, how do you feel about pretty much the fact that this whole thing isn't real? Like the whole like entrail thing was just like an illusion. It was a facade. Let me know if you're disappointed or if you're whatever about it. Maybe I care more than you guys probably do. Bye, Connor Nicholas. Hey, what's up, Connor? Oh, see you, buddy. Didn't even get to finish the chapter. Don't worry, we'll know what his voice is like in the anime when it gets to this part. Yeah, that's true, man, Mark. Because again, I don't understand Empty Void's laugh, but that level of Genjutsu doesn't work on Flash. Well, we'll see, buddy. We'll see. You can read the translation. No society can claim rights on that. Lupin, you'd be surprised, man. You would be surprised. But anyways, moving on. So Sonic, of course, fell for the illusion like we all did. We all thought that Empty Void really did that. But him being the guy that he is, he just tries to play it off, and he's like, "Ah ha ha, who's shocked?" I could see right through it. You think you can fool Speed of Sound Sonic's eyes with such silly tricks, you low life? Yeah, right. But like, that's Sonic being Sonic, right? And then once again, Empty Void with his fushu shoo shoo shoo, whatever that's gonna end up being in the anime if we ever get it. He said, "Little bluffs won't work, will they?" And from here, he pretty much points out that he's been like watching their techniques and watching how they fight. And Flashy Flash apparently has a slightly different form of style of fighting versus the other ninjas from the village. I guess that's kind of him indicating that Flashy Flash is like an individual. He's not like he stands out. He's a shoulder above everybody else because he kind of does his own thing. So that leads him to do what happens next. So he opens his mouth, and we get this crazy like it's almost like a portal into space through his mouth or something. It looks pretty awesome, and it looks very similar to like the galaxy pattern that we saw in Cosmic Fear Garo when he first transformed. And I love Murata's like shading when it comes to like scary looking figures like this. Like when with Fear Ugly, like I would love the every panel that Fear Ugly was in, just because like the shading that Murata uses on these like menacing looking people, like oh, it's just so good. It looks like a Berserk manga or something. But anyway, he reaches in there and he pulls out a God cube, and he says to Flashy Flash, "You pass," meaning indicating that like okay, you're worthy of touching the cube and possibly accepting God's power, or maybe it's already been decided. Maybe he can be an avatar of God right away. Um, and one thing I should point out is like I feel like this cube is like a lot smaller than the ones that we've seen in the manga before, and for some reason it's glowing. So I don't know if this is like a real cube or if it's like I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what's going on with it. I don't know if it's just Murata kind of retconning what it looks like and kind of makes him want to look like that now. But maybe this is like a false cube or something. We don't know yet. But Flashy Flash and Sonic noticed the cube as the one that was in the basement of the ninja village, as we saw like a couple chapters back in one of his flashbacks. So they recognize. I mean, obviously Flashy Flash recognizes the cube because he's seen it before with like Saitama and Minako and stuff. But this is Sonic recognizing the cube from his childhood. So the the weird thing that I really didn't understand in this chapter that I'll show you guys in a second has something to do with Empty Void and Sonic. So right now he's pretty much like writing Sonic off. He's like, you're a lot weaker than Flashy. Like you're not worthy of God's power. Like I'm not gonna pay you any mind. Whatever. So then like Flashy Flash and Empty Void start kind of having their one-on-one again. Um, and where's the part? I think it's right over here. Oh, so before we get to that, we actually get another standoff between Flashy and Empty Void, and Flashy says like he's not as naive. He's not naive like Blast, and wants to turn Empty Void back into a human, because I remember when we saw a couple chapters back that Blast was doing this like secret operation or secret experiment type thing in the Hero Association to turn people that had eaten monster cells back into humans. It seemed like it was kind of bearing some fruit, but it wasn't quite there yet. And Blast did this intending to turn his former friend back into a human. Him being Empty Void, obviously. And Flashy Flash is like, yeah, that's not going to happen. Like he's seen what happens to people that accept God's power before. He's going to try to get as much information out of Empty Void as possible before God inevitably confiscates his power and turns him into salt or dust, like he did to Homeless Emperor, or like the the alternate universe version of Garo, where everything went to crap. So he knows that they're not going to get to the point of him being saved and being turned back into a human. That's not going to happen. So he wants to get as much information now before they lose him, because that's going to be the best chance they get to get like direct God information from anybody other than God himself. Someone that has met God, has access to God, and is one of his main like disciples, right? So then they start, Flashy Flash is like, all right, man, like I'm done messing around. Like I need to beat this dude now. So they start having this crazy battle all over the place, and then you see like the streaks or after images of where they were clashing. Like Sonic is just staring at this and just seeing how fast they're moving, and he's like, man, like, so when he gets mad, it's this overwhelming. Like this is how strong he is. And constantly throughout like these past couple chapters, we're seeing like these moments where Sonic is like pretty much like man, I'm this far below Flashy Flash. Like I thought I was strong, but like I'm nothing. I'm nothing compared to him even, And he already felt that way about Saitama, but just imagine feeling that way about somebody that like was your equal at some point when you were kids. You know what I mean? Like you meet him way later in life and he's like doing 10 times better than you. It kind of hurts. And the reason I bring that up is because like I feel like they're like showing this a bunch of times in these last couple of chapters, because something that's going to be said in a little bit in like a page or two makes me think that like the whole like Sonic eating a monster cell and like maybe choosing to be a monster again thing is an option. Like maybe he'll have that inner conflict again of becoming a monster, or on the other hand, um, he might kind of give some insight on like what it was like to eat a monster cell, or like have some kind of it's hard to explain it without spoiling. So let's just keep going, and then I'll explain the last part of what I'm kind of predicting here. So as we kind of cut away from Sonic for a bit, we get back to Flashy Flash, and it turns out that he's been fighting with his eyes closed this entire time. And apparently it's because he excels in combat in the dark, because he could just rely on his senses and not get fooled by his eyesight, which makes him kind of impervious to Genjutsu because you have to witness illusions to for the Genjutsu to work on you. You know what I mean? But as he's saying this, so the final sentence he says is on someone like me, Genjutsu tricks are, and then he gets cut off by Empty Void, who pretty much finishes his sentence saying, "Not gonna work, you think," and does his little fushu shu 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 thing again. So he like knew exactly what Flashy Flash was thinking. As we're about to see, I don't know if it's because he can literally read minds, which is honestly a possibility, um, considering what's going to happen in a second. But like, either that or he's just like a master, a master combatant. Like he's had so many battles in his many years being alive or whatever, that he just knows that like people have tried this before, like closing their eyes to fight his illusions off and stuff like that. So I don't know, but anyways, he kind of his body starts to morph, and out of nowhere, his Flashy Flash is surrounded by one, two, three, four, six death punches, six Saitama death punches. But they're obviously not real, right? But I remember when I scrolled to this page, I was like, wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like I just scroll back up, and because I thought I missed something, but no, this is all just like an illusion cast on him. Pretty much, Empty Void showing him like it doesn't matter if your eyes are closed, I can still make you see stuff, which is pretty insane. Here, let me check what you guys are saying. It's been a minute. Take a sip of water first. So as you can see, pretty exciting chapters so far. For you guys that haven't read the chapter yet, like we're nearing the end, and we're still not done with all the crazy stuff that goes down here. But let's see. Dang, you guys been commenting. That level of Genjutsu doesn't work. I prefer it was left like it was. Yeah, me too, Hisatsu. I would have liked it to stay like the brutal entry that he'd had. Like the fact that it was Genjutsu is kind of like, whatever. It's a little disappointing. I agree. Yeah, I agree with you. So okay, you guys kind of feel the same way. At least some of you do. I liked it because it gives it more of an illusion. Wasn't real vibes. It's kind of cool. All right, Dave. Yeah, I could feel that. I mean, again, it's just like to show like how powerful his like Genjutsu abilities really are. It's a great way to showcase it, I guess. Um, this could mean Genjutsu would not work on Blast and Saitama. Yeah, I don't think. Look, if Saitama can kick away like hyperspace gates and like do the crazy stuff he's done, like I have no issue believing that like he can is just straight up impervious to Genjutsu. I mean, that's just kind of a given, right? Um, I kind of liked it, but because the end of the chapter, I feel like it can play in the mind of Flight. Yeah, true. Reminds me of Aizen. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Um, it'll be like 10 years till we see this animated. Yeah, no, that's for sure. Kalen. Worse than Saitama except cats and mosquitoes. You guys are funny. Yo, sorry I'm late. Oh, what's up, Raheem? How's it going, man? I got spoiled this morning, bro. One Punch Man went crazy this chapter. Yeah, it did, Raheem. I mean, hey, you can't avoid getting spoiled sometimes. It's just how it is. Where the F is blasting sights? Look, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, and I've said this before already. I want Saitama to stay as far away from this fight as possible because I want to see it play out. I want to see what Empty Void can do. I want to see all of that, and I don't want to see pretty much what happened in the webcomic happen. So yeah, no, this is great. This is all new content. For those of you guys that are manga only, none of this has ever happened in the webcomic. So this is all new content to everybody, and it's well welcomed for me at least. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure like 98% of fans prefer this to what happened in the webcomic. Sonic will just poop himself again. Yeah. Let's see. Have you read Terra 2 and 3? Oh, actually, I read Terra 2 and 3 on stream one day. So you could probably go back and watch that to us watching it. But so Empty Void is probably a bit stronger than Platinum S and weaker than Monster Garo. Um, I think he might even be stronger than Monster Garo. That might be a stretch to say, but like you'd assume that if he's like a god disciple and he was as like on blast level at some point, kind of, then like he's pretty strong, right? Just to ride what I miss. Um, All right, well, let's continue the chapter. I got my water in me, so we can keep going. So obviously, seeing this huge flurry of death punches, like Flashy Flash is like, all right, dude, I'm done for, right? Like he's shocked. So I mean, you can see it on his face. Like he does not know what's happening. His eyes are closed, and he can still see things. And he says, impossible, even the senses. And this is when we get the explanation of how powerful his Genjutsu really is, because he says, or he thinks to himself, it's not just visual manipulation. The source is a psychic wave that finds the target's fear and then personifies it. So, pretty much like what this is saying is that like this is like Flashy Flash's. Oh, I mean that and what we're gonna see in a second, but Flashy Flash's like biggest fear right now is Saitama, or like the fact that he's so far behind someone like Saitama. You know, like someone as prideful as Flashy Flash. He does not take kindly to people that are like that one up him in certain areas, especially speed. And Saitama did all that. And I mean, in their brief fight, like 3-4 chapters ago, however long it was, like he Flashy Flash did all he could, and then he still easily got almost straight up killed. But anyways, that doesn't end the illusions, because we then see that that like as Flashy Flash is like all confused by the fact that he's getting affected by this Genjutsu anyway, even though he has his eyes closed. He gets something thrown in his hand by Empty Void, and like the look on his face was the look on my face. Like when I first saw this, because he tosses him Sonic's head, and his head is literally getting sliced in half as it's getting tossed in his hand, and then there's like body parts everywhere behind him, and I'm just like, what the is Sonic gone? Like, is that it? Like, there's no way, right? You know, because that would just be a crazy end for the guy. So like, you just have to assume that's another illusion. Um, but like, just like off of pure shock value, like this whole panel in general is just insane, right? Like, who would have thought we'd see something like this in this arc? But you know, obviously, in completely petrified, Flashy Flash is wide open, so Empty Void takes advantage of the moment. He's like, so you can even make a face like that. So I'm not sure what he means like that. He's like, all right, yeah, he broke through his like tough guy facade. Like he cracked Flash. That's pretty much what he's saying. And he touches him directly with the cube, and this big flash happens right in front of them, and it's kind of hard to see exactly what happens, because like here we see that like he's touching him in the head with the cube, and then like I don't know if he's getting blown back by like the energy it's creating, or this is just kind of a visual effect that's setting up what's gonna happen next. But I don't know. Like this cube is definitely much different than ones we've seen in the past, because like it's like smaller, it's glowing, it's like emitting this like really bright power. You know. Again, I don't know if Murata's like retconning what the cubes look like now, so I don't know. We'll see. But Sonic's like, all right, well, I got to go help my dude out here, because he's just got hit in the face with one of these cubes, you know. But then Empty Void does the same to him, and it seems like he gets blown farther back. And this is when the second half of my theory that I was talking about earlier kind of comes into play. So because Empty Void looks at Sonic after he pushes him back with the cube, and he says, Sonic, I heard this guy accepted a monster cell. Provoke their inferiority complex, and they'll soon succumb to temptation and accept the power. That's out of the question. So I was kind of confused at first about that, like when he says that's out of the question, like what's out of the question? What are you talking about? But I'm guessing he's kind of thinking in his head like, Sonic ate a monster cell before, so that means he's willing to become one. So maybe he was considering maybe trying to have Sonic, accept power from the cube too, but maybe he said, "Oh, never mind that, he's too weak." That's kind of what I got out of it. And so the why I think it's really important that he brings this up here, aside from him like deducing that Sonic has wanted to become a monster in the past, is I feel like Sonic is gonna play a role here because obviously since like Flashy Flash got touched with the cube, he's now gonna be confronted by God and offered this power, right? As we're about to see. So I think Sonic is like maybe he's gonna get tempted by it. You know what I mean? Like maybe it is gonna tempt him for some reason. I don't think it would, but maybe. But maybe this is where Sonic comes in and he's like, nah, man, like I thought the same thing too. Like I was gonna become a monster too, and it just it was a mistake. Like it's a mistake that I'm glad didn't follow through because he cooked the monster cell and he ended up like crapping it out. So so it didn't work. So he might come to Flashy as his friend. As we've been seeing that they're actually close friends, or they used to be close friends. Like nah, man, you don't want this. So maybe that's why this is getting brought back up again. It's either that or maybe Sonic tries to become a monster again. He tries touching the cube and he's like, let me get some of that power. But I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, we cut away from that and we cut to this dream sequence where Flashy Flash is back at it in his like, you know, early teens, but pretty much where we saw him where in each one of his flashbacks where he remembers seeing the God Cube and also kind of around the same age he was when we saw that scene with him and Sonic in the forest talking about them starting their new ninja village or starting a ninja village that's based on personal growth, people not being forced to become assassins, and pretty much like a Konoha like a Naruto Konoha. Pretty much that's what they want to have. And so he wakes up and he's like, where am I? So he doesn't realize that he's in an illusion. And he sees Sonic standing on this hill a little ways away in front of him, and he yells out, "Sonic, you're finally awake!" Oh no, he yells out Sonic, and then Sonic says, "You're finally awake, Flash." And he continues to say, "I'm glad I deserted the village with you. You finally made it here, the place of dreams we swore to." And of course, he's talking about, again, like I said, the place that they planned to initially open their village, and Flashy Flash is reminded by this. He's like, "Oh, cool, like good." So he doesn't realize that he's in an illusion. And as we probably could have expected, that wasn't Sonic at all. This is all fake, and this is actually God impersonating somebody to try and like trick Flashy Flash into accepting his power. Like we've seen him do with Garo when we saw him turn into Bang, like we saw with Tatsumaki when he turned into Blast and tried having her accept his power. He's now turning into childhood Sonic because that's, I guess, I mean, Flashy Flash has been a loner for a long time, so my guess is like, and considering we saw that like, you know, Empty Void uses Genjutsu of creating like the worst fear imaginable for somebody, on Flashy Flash, and one of those worst fears was seeing Sonic dead. Makes indicates that he still cares very much about him, so he's probably still like his closest friend, even though they haven't seen each other for years, right? So it would make sense that God chooses Sonic to turn into out of anybody. So he then says to Sonic, "Sonic, I was having some kind of scary dream." And Sonic says to him, "Even any nightmare is better than life in the village. Starting now, the two of us will build the ideal village right here." And then he extends his hand out to him and he says, "Let's do our best together, Flash." And look, Flash is looking at him and he's saying, "Yeah." Like, so he's not suspicious of the fact that this is God at all. So we end with this panel of them about to connect hands, and obviously the one, the left one is God's hand because it has like the weird veins going across it, and that's the kind of the cliffhanger we're left off on. And next chapter we're going to see what happens. I mean, obviously most of us can assume that he's not going to accept God's power. He's going to either Sonic's going to intervene or even Saitama might intervene, and he's gonna reject it, and they're gonna fight. Hopefully, both of them fight Empty Void together, and we get like another chapter of some like full on action between them. But I have a feeling that maybe we might see the end of this whole thing next chapter. Once like Blast and Saitama show up, crossing my fingers that's not the case because I want this to go on a little bit longer. I personally don't mind this arc that much, but I mean, crazy chapter. Get the reappearance of God, which always makes for a crazy chapter. We got to see what Empty Void's one of Empty Void's power. I mean, we got to see a God Cube, always a great time. We got to see this. Like, who thought we would have seen this? And then we got to see like how crazy just one of Empty Void's abilities are. Like, he straight up affect people on a mental level, like create illusions that they see within their own mind, which is insane. I mean, that's pretty cool, and I mean, it's pretty interesting to point out too that like that makes me wonder, like, did he have these abilities before he got God's power, or is this a result of, gaining God's power? Is this one of the abilities he gained? Because that would be a very important, distinction for me, because that would mean that like Empty Void as a human was potentially an Esper, and if he can do stuff like that means he had some kind of Esper abilities. And why I think that's huge is because this is kind of getting off topic and getting in some like tinfoil hat stuff, but like the whole dynamic between Blast and Tatsumaki has always seemed kind of like odd to me. Like it's almost like a father-daughter thing. Almost like Blast is trying to raise Tatsumaki from a distance in a way. And I mean, I used to think that maybe he was her dad, but I'm starting to kind of not really feel that feel that theory anymore. And I think it makes much more sense now, considering all the new stuff we've gotten in the manga versus the webcomic, that it's possible that Empty Void may have been Tatsumaki's and Fubuki's dad, and that would make sense because he was Blast's best friend, and seeing him turn into a monster and Blast being the one to take him out is kind of like it's kind of like a Jujutsu Kaisen scenario, with like Gojo and Toji with Megumi. Like, he kind of feels responsible for raising the person he took out's kids in a way, So maybe that's why he has that dynamic with Tatsumaki. So if he had this ability as a human, and that would mean he would likely have some kind of Esper abilities on his own, that would heavily, heavily support that theory. So I think that's a really big thing that kind of went under the radar. So I hope we kind of get some details on that. But I mean, that might just be wishful thinking. But anyway, what do you guys think about this chapter? Let me know in the chat. Give it a 1 to 10. Give this chapter a 1 to 10. If you want to explain your reasoning as to why you gave it that score, sure, go ahead. Go ahead. But let's see those 1 to 10s. The webcomic is better. The manga is too lighthearted and family friendly. Yeah, Al Simmons, that's a big complaint. It's a valid complaint, I think, that a lot of people have. And it just depends on the type of stuff you like. You know what I mean? If you like the more edgy, like grittiness of manga, then obviously you're gonna enjoy the webcomic more because it's just more like adult. You know what I mean? This is definitely more shonen. The manga is definitely more shonen. But I don't know. I feel like you could enjoy them both in different ways. You know what I mean? Like, you can have your complaints for one and the other, and still enjoy both. You know what I mean? I think Saitama will clap Empty Void, and God will step it up after losing one of his strongest. Man, that would be. Hey, you know what? That's the only scenario in which I would be fine if Saitama shows up. If like he shows up, takes out Empty Void, and then God steps in and does something. Okay, I don't think that would happen, but okay, that's like my one exception. Um, Empty Void pulled out a cube, so he has to be more powerful than Garo, and he's definitely more experienced too. More experienced, yeah. More powerful, that's debatable. I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, I don't think he's more powerful than Cosmic Fear Garo. I think Cosmic Fear Garo is like way ahead of him, but Monster Garo maybe. Bro, they had us in the first half. Not gonna lie, yeah, they really did, Dave. They did. Spun this up. Genjutsu or whatever, ain't it? Yeah, okay. Imagine that just before the God gives power to Flashy, Saitama destroys the cube, surprising Blast, and even God. That would be crazy to see. I was always curious to know. I mean, obviously the answer is probably gonna be yes, but like I do want to see the moment where like Saitama actually like punches a cube or touches it. You know what I mean? I want to see what happens. Well, I mean, he technically has already touched it once, but like knowing what we know now, like if he touches it again, it's under a completely different context. I'm assuming Saitama is gonna pull up similar to how he did in the Phoenix space. Yeah, that seems like a good possibility. Kind of goofy. The translation's kind of weird here, or just me. Yeah, no. There's I agree. There's like certain parts of the manga where like the translations are kind of off. Like they sound like translated by someone that doesn't speak English. Um, which is what I mean. Look, guys, we're getting translations like what 8 hours after the chapter, or no, yeah, like 7 hours after the chapter comes out. Like that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. We're blessed. We're absolutely blessed to be getting translations this soon. But yeah, no, I did notice that this chapter it was a little off. Um, and actually, I remember in the last chapter, I want to say that they were talking about like looking for new typesetters and translators for the future because like one of their big ones might not be able to translate anymore. So maybe they're just kind of going through a transition and working out some kinks. So like I don't know, it's whatever. I mean, as long as we get the idea of what goes on in this chapter, we get like fairly accurate translations. I don't really care. Um, but yeah, Blast versus I'm assuming Saitama. Oh no, I already saw that. I think Sonic is going to do the anime protagonist arc and get stronger and surpass his limits. I hope so too. HFS. He's getting left behind. Um, I guess he'll be called Lightstar. Yeah, that Lightstar. Not. I thought it'd just be Cosmic Flash. That sounds cool, right? Blast said that his friend was the only one capable of using the cubes. No, I think his friend is the only one capable of accessing God with his like what it was like called the heavenly like the heavenly Stargate or something like that. Um, Empty Void got Freddy Krueger mode. Yeah, he does. That's actually kind of funny. That's because he kind of looks like him too. Here, let me find a good shot of him. He does definitely give like Freddy Krueger vibes. So it's kind of funny that's the thing. Um, Saitama only person shown capable of rejecting God's power for now. Yeah, true. Well, Garo technically rejected God's power, but he just kind of got tricked into it. Bro, I've been reading the rest of verses, and one has been cooking a lot. Go get a play and check it out. Yeah, honestly, Raheem, I've been meaning to read verses. I read the first chapter when it came out. It was super long, and there's honestly, I liked it. I liked how it looked. It was drawn really well. The premise of everything seemed really cool, but I just feel like there was so much going on in just one chapter. It was just like, man, they're trying to do a lot. Um, but maybe it's kind of getting hashed out now. You know what I mean? Things are slowing down, and people like you're diving into the characters. And one thing one is really really good at, better than anyone in manga. I feel like, or I mean, I guess any manga I've read. Maybe you can make that argument with Oda. Well, no, you could definitely make that argument with Oda because he's created way more characters than one has at this point. But um, one is one of the best in the game of just creating these like wacky, zany characters, like super creative about it. Like they're all unique in their own way. Like he's really good at that, at just creating like a diverse cast of characters, and like the whole premise of verses, like lets that shine. So that's why I was always really interested to actually read the manga once it got going. I just haven't had the time, but no, yeah, you're right, Raheem. That I should check it out. I'm glad to see that you're enjoying it though. Um, I honestly wish we could have seen Sonic monsterize. That would look cool, but like then like Sonic's just done. He can't turn back into a human. Or maybe, I mean, now with the stuff that we know now, maybe he would be able to. But you know what? Now that you mention it, maybe there is a way that in this arc Sonic becomes a monster really quick. That would be really cool to see. Not gonna lie. I feel like a 7 for how short it was. Okay, I feel that. 7 out of 10. I'll give it an 8, 8.5, infinity out of 10. Because maybe I'm biased. Well, yeah, of course, John. Come on. We always gotta give the 10s out of 10s, right? Um, good but missing something. Yeah, I kind of agree, Jeremy. One can give 10 just because of Empty Void's mouth. Yeah, true. 10 out of 10. Murata must be as fast as Flash was because of how he's making these 10 out of 10 chapters. Okay. 9 out of 10, 7, 8. So, okay, so most of you guys at least like enjoyed it pretty well, right? I did too. I think I would probably give it like see, like, cause I'm biased to like God related stuff in general. Like anything that's God related in a chapter makes it automatically like no less than an 8 out of 10 for me. But I think even that being said, I still enjoyed this. Like you get to learn some of Empty Void's powers. Like you get this, you know, this again this super crazy panel of where the heck is it? Of this, I feel like this is like automatically warrants it like a pretty high score. And and I mean like this looks great too. Like I don't know, I just feel like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it visually. You got to learn a couple things like Empty Void's abilities. The only I guess my only gripe with the chapter is that like the Heavenly Ninja Party ended up being alive because it kind of just like I feel like deflated the like severity of the whole situation. But like whatever, what are you gonna do? You know. So I think I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. But again, I'm biased because any God stuff it just gives it an automatic 8 for me. Super Galactic Dark Side, Narutoverse, or even Bleach. Okay. One Punch Man fans go bonkers even if God's name is mentioned in the chapter. Yeah, including me, Nectar. Honestly, I mean I'm one of those people. Maybe Sonic can transform from monster to human or human slash monster, just like Hellfire and Gale. I don't think Hellfire and Gale can turn into monsters anymore. But I mean, see that's another thing. Well, because we'd have to go into webcomic stuff for me to really go into it. But like, I think seeing like that's something that I feel like needs to be more front and center. Like it's a sweet concept, and I feel like it needs to be like explored more in the manga. Is like people that can turn into monsters and back into human. You know what I mean? Like they can change, they can hop back and forth pretty much. I feel like that might be coming at some point, but like that's a pretty cool concept that I feel like would make sense within like the how monsters work and how transformations work. Um, and again, like you said, we did kind of see it with Hellfire and Gale Wind, so maybe they were able to do that for a reason. Maybe they kind of planted that as a seed for something that's coming later. We don't know. That would be pretty cool though. I think. Even with Flash accepts God's power, he still can't beat Void because base Void over Flashy Flash. I guess I mean with that logic that makes sense. She, um, but I mean I don't know. I mean this is he's a good guy, so the good guys are gonna get some kind of power up to put him above the bad guy, right? So is Void stronger than PS? Are you saying Platinum S when you're saying Remart? If you're saying PS, then I would say probably yes. I would say yes. And I love Platinum S, man. Like Black S is one of my favorite characters, like in the series period. So it pains me to say it, but I do think he is stronger. Still nowhere close to Void. What level of imagination does it take to create this abomination of him opening his mouth? It's cool, man. I mean, look, it's like cosmic horror stuff. Like that's another like kind of like a genre that I'm really into. Um, that it looks sick, man. Like that's the thing. Like you get good content, and on top of that, you get these insanely well detailed panels. Like we're eating good. We're eating good. We should appreciate. We have no anime, sure, but at least we're getting banger manga chapters like this, and we're getting webcomic chapters now. We have the One Punch Man World game that's actually pretty fun that I've been playing on stream. I might actually stream playing that game after this, but but yeah, it's been a good time being a One Punch Man fan. I don't know about you guys. Oh, actually, here's the poll. I'm gonna make a poll. Um, Start poll. Are One Punch Man fans eating right now? Show some love for One Punch Man in the chat, guys. I mean, I will be honest. Be honest. You know, obviously, I don't want you to lie, but I really wish the Heavenly Ninjas did die though. Yeah, me too. Um, White. I really do. Just like again, like it just added a severity to the whole situation that I feel like we don't get with a lot of One Punch Man like chapters. You know, the only other time that we felt some kind of dread like that was like when Fear Ugly like straight up broke every bone in Tank Top Master's body like that and like ripped the My Mask in half. Like that was crazy. You know what I mean? Um, that was the kind of same feeling I was getting from like Empty Void's entrance. So I kind of took that away, which sucks. But again, it's whatever. Whatever for whatever else that everything else that happens in this chapter, I can forgive that. I really wish the Heavenly Ninja. Oh, okay. I'm gonna predict Blast shows up with Saitama to find the two ninjas defeated by the Genjutsu. Then Blast fights him. Then Saitama gets involved in a comedic way. Um, I think something similar is gonna happen to what you're saying, but I think they're gonna show up as Flashy Flash is still fighting Empty Void or something, as both of them are or something. Um, then they get beat. Then maybe Blast takes him out or like does what he needs to do with Empty Void. Um, because I mean we gotta see it, man. We gotta see the fight. We have to. I do believe that strength might be displayed differently in terms of separate categories. I think that Sonic will be extremely fast if he gets God's powers because their powers depend on their persona. Yeah, that's true. Kind of this was more of an appetizer. Yeah, I mean, if you guys are following Murata's tweets, like most people, if not all people, thought this was gonna be like 30 plus pages, and it ended up not being that long. So I wonder where those extra pages went. Well, we'll see. Maybe they get added. They get added later. You know. Um, I don't know. Girl just left. He seems like he's gonna be as annoying side character now. Saitama one shot everyone. Yeah. How often does anyone at all die in One Punch Man though, except the monsters? Honestly, Mark, the only time I remember like important people or like semi-important people actually dying in One Punch Man was I forgot. I don't even remember the guy's name. It was like the leader of like the military group that Waganma's dad sent in. You know, the one that got killed by evil natural water. He straight up got eaten up by the piranhas. So that guy actually died, and then also the Council of Swordsmen, the former Council of Swordsmen, that got killed by Vomit Fear Ugly's like acid spitting. Like that was pretty brutal too. Like they like it went through their heads and stuff, and like I mean we saw with Nichiren who ended up weirdly surviving. Um, he got half of his body melted. So yeah, that's the only times that I think we've seen like any type of relevant characters actually dying. My theory is Saitama fight God with blast and blast God with battery ass. Puts oil on him and lights him up. Mupus, that might happen. Who knows? That'd be pretty metal, huh? Do you think the swords he has are going to be a big play in the development of the characters? They kind of have to be. I mean, again, I don't want to get into webcomic stuff here, but um, I mean, he hasn't even used the swords yet. Like, they're not. There's no way they're just for show. He's gonna have to use them at some point. And Flashy, Flash, and Sonic, two people, two swords, kind of makes sense. They're both in need of a sword too. Um, See, that reminds me. Where did the swordsman children go? And where did the Neo Hero stuff go? We're taking a little break from that right now, but we're gonna get back to it. Trust me. I made it. What's up, Doomed? How's it going? Part of how Murata Sensei expresses the history made by one is first showing a huge amount of strength and power, then Saitama just doing a normal punch to show how far Saitama is. Yeah, that's true. I mean, okay, so this is another question I have for you guys, um, because I think I made this theory in a video or I explained this theory in a video before, but once we found out that Empty Void had access to like the dimension where God is dormant, I thought since like we had that shot of him with like swords behind his back, I thought that maybe like it was some cool thing where he like grabs one of the swords and he like you know swings it at space and it just cuts open a portal in like midair. You know what I mean? Like something cool like that. Um, but seeing this, like seeing like him straight up pull a god cube out of his mouth, like maybe I mean it'd be kind of stupid if the gateway is his own mouth because how would he be able to get in there? You know what I mean? Um, but maybe like his body itself is the gateway. Like maybe like his body manifests it, and maybe he can travel through it freely. And somehow, I'm not really sure. It's kind of confusing. Not gonna lie. Or maybe this has nothing to do with like the gateway to God. But I think it's kind of important because like if he can pull out a God cube willy nilly. I mean, come on, like he has to have some other stuff in there that he's gonna use in this fight, or like this has to be some kind of like hyperspace gate, much like what Blast can do. Um, and again, like what do you guys think about like why this God cube looks so different? Like, do you think it's a real God cube, or like do you think it's like activated or something? That's still something I'm on the fence about. How often does? Oh yeah. Didn't someone say if Sonic Samurai had both, he would be invincible or something? I'm not sure what you mean, Doomed. Maybe that was somewhere. I haven't heard it though. Um, God must be intimidated by Saitama if even the person's tainted by his power still can't match capability. Of course not, man. Come on, nobody can. Is Gojo in the? Oh yeah, is that the prison realm? Straight up, right? I don't care if I die. I really want to get sucked up by empty void cosmic. Whoa, hey yo, Hajan, man, what's up? What was that? Empty void equals Kirby. That's funny as hell. He really is Kirby. Maybe it's a charged cube. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it will be his ultimate move, like last effort before being defeated. Um, I think he is extracting power from the cube. Oh yeah, maybe. That's a good point. That's a possibility. Um, I feel like Blast is going to have to 1v1 him because we really don't know the full extent of his power, so this could be a way to show off. Yeah, that's a good point. Like I said, I do think Blast is going to be the one to finish him off, to be honest. It would be cool if Empty Void could slice through space and time. I mean. That's what I'm saying, man. I think maybe one of those swords can do that. Like, has the ability to do that. I don't know. I don't know. Um, Back when Atomic chopped Golden S's arm off, I think that's where I read it. Oh, you talking about the Sun and the Moon blade? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. Like if Atomic had the Sun and the Moon blade or something, he'd be like super strong. Yeah. I feel the cube is real, but Empty Void is increasing his power with the cube. Yeah, that's possible. Looks Empty Void is even. Sometimes Cosmic Fear Garo. I don't think Empty Void would be Cosmic Fear Garo. I think Cosmic Fear Garo is still way above him. What if the Ninja Leader absorbs the cube to gain a final form? Because that sounds cool. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. It's like oh man, what is that like? I'm trying to think. Oh, it's from another anime. Whatever. But maybe it's kind of like a Psychos and Orochi scenario where like he merges with the cube to get some like additional power or something. That would be sick. That would kind of justify like okay, so all right, this is kind of getting into theory time now. Let's say that's the case. He can fuse with the cube somehow. That would make it make sense like later on when like let's say the scenario plays out that he beats Flashy Flash like relatively easily. And then Blast and Saitama show up, so then Blast is the one that has to take him out again. But to make it not so where it's like easy like last time, because it seemed like Blast easily took him out last time. Maybe this time, Empty Void merges with the cube, making him even stronger than the last time that they met, and then like they actually have a pretty sweet fight. That would be super cool. I wouldn't be mad at that. So yeah, that was a good theory, man. Yeah, for sure. That'd be cool. theory that man is one of the prophets of God who took over Void's body and spread God's cubes across the earth. That that's a possibility. I could see that making sense. Goblin Slayer. We don't really have much scale for Empty Void. Yeah, we really don't. I mean, I'm not a power scaler type of person. Like, I don't really focus on that stuff that much. But um, I mean, it's true. You don't have that many feats you can really scale off of right now. It's all kind of like, I don't know. It's not tangible. You know what I mean? Because it's all like, it's Genjutsu stuff. It's opening portals in your freaking mouth. You know, it's like nothing that you can really. The only thing you can really tangibly scale on Empty Void right now is the fact that he's fast enough to like pretty easily dodge Flashy's hits. So like he's like, on that level of speed at the minimum. Which, I mean, I don't think any of us would have been surprised at. Also, current Saitama over Saitama then by a lot. Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, the fact that there's God stuff in this chapter in general, it's already a win for me. Um, I for one don't think that Flashy Flash is gonna accept his power. I'm just more so curious in how he's gonna get broken out of it. Like we kind of talked about today. Like it could be Sonic that does it. It could be Saitama that bursts in and does it like he did with Child Emperor in the Phoenix Space. It could be Flashy Flash just doing it on his own, kind of putting it together. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Let's see. Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's see where that poll is at. Are One Punch Man fans eating right now? 80% of you say yes out of 70 votes. So, for the most part, we are. But what events would you think go into anime season 3? At what moment would it end at? Um okay, so that depends on like whether season 3 ends up being a 12 episode season or a 24 episode season or like 25 episodes like Jujutsu Kaisen is. Um if it's 12 episodes, which would kind of suck, man, that'd be kind of tough. It would probably be Saitama's fight with Orochi. I think that would be a good place to end season 3. Or maybe, yeah, it would be probably Saitama's fight with Orochi, or like at the very very latest, um, Psychos' transformation into like Sairochi, and also like Monster Garo. Like, well, I mean, Garo when he transformed into a monster after fighting Super Ally Darkseid for the first time. I feel like that would be more of a thing if it was a 24, 25 episode season, because I find a hard time believing they're going to fit all that content in 12 episodes, without cutting out a lot of good stuff. So, it's hard to say, but I think I think the very most they're going to cover is up until like Sairochi and stuff like that. I don't think they're going to get up to Cosmic Fear Garo and all that. I think that might be like a season 4 thing, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I mean, they usually, without putting too much content into one episode, it usually averages out to like 3 to 4 chapters per episode, per anime episode. So just kind of do the math there. You can kind of get a good idea where it's gonna end. I wish they got like 100 episodes or something. That'd be crazy. Like Hunter. Yeah, you do need a longer story for that. One Punch Man is not that long. What if Saitama just grabs the cube and shatters, and the ninja leader just freaks out? That'd be kind of funny. Bro's eating chips. I am, man. I'm hungry. Yeah. Speaking of which, I'm probably gonna grab grab some dinner. I haven't eaten because I saw the English translations. I recorded, hopped on here. So haven't had time to eat. So that being said, appreciate everybody hopping in the stream. I might start streaming a little later, in like 20, 30 minutes maybe. I might start streaming the One Punch Man World game. If not, I'll definitely be streaming that tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. And here, anybody that gives a damn, you can join my Discord because I every time a chapter drops and every time a translated chapter drops, I post it in the Discord, so you can see it right away. You can read it right away, and whenever I do one of these live reviews, you could just um, hop in and already know what happened. Um, so I'm gonna drop that link here to join the Discord. Would love to have you. Lots of cool people in there that love One Punch Man and stuff. Also JJK and other stuff. So yeah, would definitely love to have whoever wants to join. Did you turn on stream by accident that last time you played the game? Oh, Mark, yesterday. So okay, I streamed for 2 hours, like for real, and then like I ended the stream, and for some reason like a stream started like immediately after that again. And that was just me chilling. So, so I mean, sorry if I was dropping like f bombs or like not even on camera for most of that. And also like during that stream, I was setting up my second monitor that I have now. So now I have two monitors so I can see chat and like actually play games, which is nice. Um, so yeah, I mean, sorry if you guys saw that. It's gone now. So for like the 50 people that saw me just like living my daily life on stream, hope you enjoy. Hope you enjoyed it, I guess. But um, can do anything that he wants. Yeah, but that does it for this one, guys. Have a good one. I'll see you guys in the next stream or the next video if you decide to watch it. And I hope you guys have a good morning, afternoon, night, whatever it is, whatever time it is for you. And I'll see you guys on the next stream. Peace out.